If you are wondering why Nigeria will never work as a country, just listen. Just bring out your time. Watch this video from beginning to the end. You will understand the reason why Nigeria will never work as a country. Even the man who created Nigeria, Frederick Lugard, and his school who created this country called Nigeria, you are shouting one Nigeria today. Confirm it that this is a business company, and the company was not created for you Yoruba man, for you the Hausa man, for you the Igbo man, and the Fulani, and all the whole ethnic nationality or ethnic group in Nigeria. This country was not created to favor you. It was created for you to be in pain and for them to reap you. If you need to watch this video, I don't need to talk too much. Just bring out your time, watch the whole video so you understand this reason why everybody is behaving the way they are behaving in Nigeria today. And that is the reason why Nigeria will never work. Because we never won for one day and we can never be one. So the better we stop deceiving ourselves and face the reality. Let everyone go and build their nation, whether Igbo nation, Biafra, whether Oduduwa nation, whether Arewa nation. Go and build yourself. Watch this full video.
Quick one. Today I am bringing you the description by Frederick Lugard of the tribes he merged together. How Frederick Lugard, the man who created Nigeria, the person who created Nigeria is called Frederick Lugard. Okay, he's the one who created Nigeria in 1914. And this is what he has to say about the tribes he merged together in Nigeria. Okay, now I want to read directly from his words so I don't make mistake. Okay, now the first one, he says, the handover notes Lord Lugard wrote to his colleague, Walter H. Lang. His colleague, his successor was Walter H. Lang, on the 25th of September, 1918. Okay, Nigeria was created in, he created Nigeria in 1914. Then in 1918, he handed over to Walter H. Lang. Okay, although he's been ruling as governor before the creation of Nigeria. Okay, and this is how it went. The quote reads inter alia. He started with the Hausas, then the Yorubas, then the Igbos. But first, let me start with the Igbos first. Now he says, these people of this is Igbo. These people of predominantly eastern Nigeria are fiercely rebellious. Now the Igbos, Frederick Lugard, the man who created Nigeria, said you are a rebel. He said you are a rebel. Okay, and you know what is a rebel? Okay, somebody who does not bow to suppression, who does not bow to opposition, somebody who does not bow to compare. Okay, every great man in history was once tagged a rebel. Okay, so long as you can't submit, so long as you can't be subdued, okay, you're a rebel. Okay, so he described you as a rebel. That is what Frederick Lugard has to say about you as an Igbo. Now, he went ahead to say, fiercely rebellious with no regard for authority. He says you don't have any regard for authority. Okay, this one I will blame your traditional system, because the Igbos has a different traditional system from what the Westerners introduced. Okay, Igbos don't believe in one person who is a king or a ruler, or one person who is magnified over others and all that, and he should be worshipped and a lot of things. Igbos don't believe that. It is not part of their system from old. Okay, Igbos believe in a system whereby the elders, they have their council of elders. Okay, they adjudicate on their issues and settle their matters and all that. The people, Igbo Beze, okay, everybody in Igbo land is a king. So the system that was brought to Nigeria or brought to Igbo land contradicts what the Igbos were initially having, what they had in the past. So I think this was the greatest problem that these people had. So he said they are rebellious and had no regard for authority. I think this was actually what affected it. Okay, now though industrious, he acknowledged that the Igbos were industrious. Okay, they had the spirit to produce to invent, to innovate, the brain to think out something and go for it and achieve it. Okay, so he said that though industrious and religious, he said Igbos are religious. Okay, well, this one I would say it's spirituality. Okay, because they themselves, they call it religion because it's not associated to them. Okay, as Africans we are spiritual people. Okay, but they themselves, they know what they know is religion. Okay, so that means Igbos were deeply rooted in spirituality. Okay, that is what he's saying. Indifferent to the objective of Her Majesty. That is to say, you oppose the objective of Her Majesty. That is the plans, the things Your Majesty's, the Queen of England has brought out. You oppose it. Okay, you don't always agree to the plans of the Queen of England and the crown. Okay, the throne of England. Okay, he said you're indifferent to the Queen of England and the crown. And he went ahead to say that they are highly dangerous to be trusted with. That the Igbos are highly dangerous to be trusted with. This is where the problem of the Igbos started in Nigeria. Frederick Lugard made it open to Nigerians that you should not trust an Igbo man with power. This is where the problem of the Igbos started from. This is the point. That is why they made sure they push power to the north and the west. Okay, and they told them not to make sure that power doesn't get into the hands of an Igbo man because they cannot be trusted with power. What does he mean by this statement? This is the reason why Nnamdi Azikiwe was not able to rule Nigeria. This is the reason why they made sure he doesn't rule Nigeria. This is the reason why the Igbos has been sidelined from leadership in Nigeria. Even when they have what it takes, they are the most credible. Even when they are the most competent when it comes to everything. And from their record, they have always been at the forefront of everything. They have always been the best. If you check the record of Nigeria before the Civil War, they have always been at the top. Call it judiciary, call it whatever. The Igbos has always been at the top. Education and otherwise. So because of this single fact, because they cannot be controlled, because they cannot be oppressed, because they cannot be subdued, they cannot allow themselves to be puppets, they cannot act as stooges to the West. This is the reason why they have refused to give an Igbo man power. Because giving an Igbo man power means that there will be breakthrough, there will be development, there will be light. So this is the reason Nnamdi Azikiwe was the biggest threat the West had. A man who commanded civil servants. Civil servants have to sit in their houses while the West, the white people, have to work. He caused a lot of strikes. Not until the white people have to negotiate before civil servant could start work. Nnamdi Azikiwe was very powerful. He was the person at the forefront of Nigeria's independence. But due to the fact that the West feared him, the West saw him as a threat. The West saw him that he is a man that they cannot control. He's a rebel. He's a threat. He cannot be oppressed. He cannot be subdued. He cannot be suppressed. He cannot be a stooge. He cannot do our bid. So because of that, make sure the Igbos don't have access to power. And that is why Nigeria is suffering today. And that is why Igbo has never produced any president in Nigeria. So this is all what they said about the Igbos. I'm done with this topic. Stay tuned for another interesting topic. Thank you. Now, this is what Frederick Lugard has to say about the Yorubas. He said Lagos has for 20 years opposed every governor. That Lagos has opposed every governor. Lagos has stood against every governor and has fermented strife. Okay, has caused fights. Okay, has caused issues and bloodshed in the hinterland. Okay, he said, and has fermented strife and bloodshed in the hinterland. Okay, so this whole fight, that is where I got to understand that the issue between Awolowo and Akintola didn't just start. It's been there. Okay, these people with his people, these people with his party opposing, fighting against one another. Okay, that is what he is saying here. Okay, this is not the white people or the West fighting against the indigenous people. This is now they themselves, the Yorubas, fighting against themselves. Me versus my brother. We are fighting with our people, killing ourselves. So this is what he's saying here. These are not my words. Okay, he went ahead to say, I have spent the best part of my life in Africa. That is Frederick Lugard, the man who created Nigeria. My aim has been the betterment of the natives for whom I have been ready to give my life. Now, he went ahead to say, but after some 29 years, for 29 years, he's been Africa. He's been in Africa, okay? He spent over 30 years in Africa. So for 29 years, he's been in Africa, studying Africa, moving around, living with the people. And so he went ahead to say, and after nearly 12 years as governor here, he spent 12 years in Yoruba land. He spent 12 years in the West as governor, okay? 12 years as governor here. I am free to say that the people of Lagos, and indeed the Westerners, which is the Yorubas of Nigeria, are the lowest. He said the Yorubas are the lowest. He said they are the lowest. Now, he went ahead to say the most seditious and disloyal. Now, seditious, the word seditious is inciting violence, inciting people against the other people. Like whenever there is peace, when people are together in peace, when they come there, they will incite this person, they will lie, they will sell lie to this person against the other person so that there will be conflict, there will be strife, there will be fight, there will be issue, there will be hatred. So he is saying that this is what they do to incite people, to cause incitement. Okay, incite brother against brother, incite sister against sister. Okay, and of a true, this is true. Okay, this is fact. Because if you go to Ghana today, it is the same thing. The narrative the Ghanaians are peddling against the other people was actually sold to them by these people. This is what Frederick Lugard has to say. Now, seditious and disloyal. The Yorubas, are you disloyal? I don't know about this. Okay, because every other person out there sees you. Oh, they are humble, they are loyal, they are this, they are calm, they are this. So this one, speak for yourself, okay? Now, he went ahead to say, the most purely prompted by self-seeking money motives of any people I have met. The most purely prompted by self-seeking money motives of any people I have met. That is to say, they love money and they can do anything for money. Self-seeking, personal money, so long as it benefits only them. That is to say, they can sell their communities, they can sell families. At the detriment of anything, they don't care. So long as it benefits them, they themselves, their personal self. They love money so much. So long as it has to do with money, so long as it will put money in their pocket, they wouldn't care what becomes the consequences or the outcome. That is how Frederick Lugard described the Yorubas of Nigeria. That they are a people that loves money, that can do anything for money. So you ask yourself, how did this narrative of Igbos loving money, how did it come to picture when it was actually the Yorubas of Nigeria that Frederick Lugard said they were the ones who loved money so much and can do anything at the detriment? They can do anything to make sure they get that money. Their personal money, so long as it benefits them personally. Somehow, they managed to pin it on the Igbos. They managed to attach it. They managed to tag it to the Igbos. So this is what Frederick Lugard has to say about these people. This is how he described the tribes he merged together in Nigeria. See you in my next episode. This is what Frederick Lugard has to say about the Hausas. This is what he has to say about them. He says, the Hausa Fulani has no ideals. That is to say, they have no ambition. They have no purpose. They have no plan. Okay, that is what he's saying. No ambition, okay, save such as sensual in character. Okay, that is to say, the only ambition they have has to do with a woman physique, a woman's body, okay, everything that has to do with a woman. That is what he's talking about here. They don't have any ambition, they don't have plan, they don't have focus, they don't have any drive, they don't have where they are going to. Okay, they are not thinking about anything. What they are just concerned about, you wake up in the morning, if you see food, you eat. Then when it's night, you sleep and all. That is just how it is for them. He continued by saying he is a fatalist. That is to say, he's a person who believes in fate. That's to say, whatever that happens, if I live, if I die, if I succeed, if I fail, whatever that happens is as a result of fate. Okay, it's predestined by whatever, maybe God or whatever. Okay, so whatever that happens to me has already been designed to happen. That is just who they are. So he says they are fatalist. Okay, then he continued to say spend thrift. They are spendthrift. That is to say, they spend recklessly, carelessly, extravagantly, and so. And of course, where you have a people that doesn't have an ambition, because if you have an ambition, at least you can channel your money where your ambition is, okay? Whereby you don't have a plan, you don't have an ambition, you don't have a goal, there is no way you can channel your money to something productive. So what you use it for is just reckless living, okay? So that is what he's talking about here. And he went ahead to say that, and a gambler, that they are gamblers. That they are gamblers, okay? You put a little money to gain the whole world and all that. This is what he's saying. Then he went ahead to say he is gravely immoral. Okay, so that is to say he a typical Hausa Fulani man is opposed to moral life. Whatever that is moral, something you will see and say and condemn that oh, this is bad, this is ill, this shouldn't be, this is sick. Okay, that is what they enjoy doing, that is what they love doing. Okay, and he went ahead to say, and is seriously diseased. Okay, that they are sick, that he is a menace, he's a problem, he's a threat, he's a danger to any community to which he seeks to attach himself. That is to say, where any community you see him, any community he attached himself, any community he finds himself, he's a threat, he's a danger, he's a menace. He retards growth. Okay, he becomes a sickness to that community. So that is what Frederick Lugard, the man who created Nigeria, has to say about the Hausa Fulani of Nigeria. The Hausa Fulani of Nigeria. Okay, so that is just how it is. This letter was written on the 25th of September 1918. Frederick Lugard wrote it when he was handing over to his successor, Walter H. Lang. Okay, this is what he has to say. I'm bringing you other tribes.
My people, with all these characters you see there, you see in this video, this is the actual what is happening today. It's only Igbo man how the boldness to confront the Funanis that is terrorizing anywhere Igbo man is. He don't like intimidation. He want to be free, want to live. But the things that is happening in Nigeria today, do you think that this country can ever be one? The high of tribalism, Yorubas are pushing against the Igbos. Do you think that this country can ever be one? The Babai, where they for North, where Fulani, they buy the Christians and they buy the people of the land in the North. Do you think that this country will ever be one? The politicians now, they are now using us for politics. They will buy you. They will bring security to say they have captured them. They leave the victim, or they will recruit them back to the society to continue their buying with the uniform. My people, share this video, drop your own opinion in the comment section. It's a high time that everyone in Nigeria have to understand and accept this simple truth. Truth is very bitter, that we go nowhere with all this nonsense we are doing. We go nowhere. Nigeria cannot work for you and me. The country was not created for our favor. So therefore, there should be a rethink. African man, black man will not accept. If it's a white people now, since they don't go to war, they don't fight and liberate themselves. But a black man, he prefer me to throw that bread they give him or make the answer or go for there. So this country was not created for us, and we need to reject the country and start a new version of life. If you want to be a one, we should come and have a concrete agreement that will favor everybody. If we cannot do this thing, we'll waste our time, wait for P2B. P2B will come and rule and go. Another saint will come and stay and go and go and go, and nothing will change. All of us shouting one Nigeria will pass. Our children will continue the struggle where we'll stop it. So the best time is now. There's no other time. Guys, give your own opinion in the comment section.